What is up everyone, welcome back to Mainly Movies, the channel where we talk about, well, mainly movies. So welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing Materialists. A professional New York City matchmaker meets a rich and charming man who seems ideal. However, after reconnecting with her charming yet imperfect ex, her relationship and work grows more and more complicated. So back in 2023, filmmaker Celine made a film called Past Lives. Now I was a really big fan of that movie. It was realistic, it was heartbreaking, and extremely well written. So I was excited to see what she was going to do with this film and using A-list actors. But I must admit, I was trying to keep a little bit of a lower expectation because sometimes a filmmaker's follow-up film doesn't always work out as well as their previous film. And also this kind of looked like it was going in the direction of a generic love triangle film. However, I can safely say that Materialist is just as well written and just as well made as her previous film, Past Lives. Honestly, the dialogue in this film was extremely well written. It was fun and witty, and it had me chuckling at a lot of scenes. But when the tone changes to a little bit more seriousness, then the dialogue really stands out and feels really heartbreaking, but still quite nice and almost poetic a little bit. It's by far 2025's best written film that I've seen so far, and it is also written by Celine herself, so again, I feel like her capabilities writing is just as good as her directing, so I hope she continues to write and direct. Also the casting as well, like I haven't really seen Chris Evans in a rom-com or in a sort of romance film in a very long time. There was a movie he was in with Alice Eve a long time ago. I actually completely forgot the name of the film, but I remember watching it one night. It was on TV and I remember liking it. I don't think it got very good reviews though, but I think that the film was quite good in my opinion. And I always thought of Chris Evans as kind of like a romantic guy. He's charming, he's likable, and he has the look of a guy people would want to fall in love with. And then obviously we have Hollywood's current heartthrob, Pedro Pascal, who in the film, he's charming and he delivers a performance that fits so well for this character. He plays this guy who's quite rich, but tries to not let that characterize him. And I really liked his scenes with Dakota Johnson, who plays the main character. There's a very lovely long take earlier on in the film between Pedro Pascal and Dakota Johnson's character. And they kind of just lay out their feelings a lot, and it's just a very nice and beautiful scene, which again is written really well. Now, I'm not usually a big fan of Dakota Johnson. She hasn't really been in anything that I find her amazing in. I liked her in The Peanut Butter Falcon, but that movie really isn't about her. She's only kind of like a side character in that film. I never went and saw any of the 50 Shades movies, so I can't really tell you what her performance is like in that, nor do I really have the intention to go and watch those movies, unless one day I'm feeling a little bit extra spicy. But I also didn't watch Madam Web, but I know that's probably not a good display of her skills as an actress, just judging by the overall score that movie received. However, this is probably the best thing I've seen her in, and she does a really good job. Her character is very conflicted with her job later on in the film, which I'll get to in a minute, and I really bought her performance in those scenes and that confliction that her character has. She does a really good job interpreting the script, and because the movie follows her, we kind of have to have that feeling of which person she should go with, and she does a good job at making us feel that way with her decisions that she has to make. But I think the thing that I really appreciated the most about Materialists is it takes a bit of a turn around the second act of the film, which I really appreciated. For a while earlier on in the film, it's a little bit silly and has a lighter tone, but then there's a shift in the second act that takes a very serious tone and brings up a very serious topic, which is the dangers of dating, or the dangers of blind dating, I guess. Like I mentioned in the synopsis, she is a matchmaker, so she's responsible for the lives of these people that she's connecting. And for real matchmakers, I could see that being a thing that's a bit overlooked, and you don't really realize that until something can go wrong, and maybe you set up two people who don't like each other, or over time don't like each other. And in a way, matchmakers can feel responsible for that. And it really shifts her character, and that's when I feel like Dakota Johnson's performance shines a lot. But just that topic alone does not get brought up in a lot of romantic films, and is something that's quite serious and I know is a real thing. I hear about it a lot on the news, I hear about it a lot in the media, that a lot of bad and dangerous things can happen from going on a date. And I think what this movie does brilliantly is it showcases this topic, but very respectfully, and it doesn't get too graphic or really even show anything. I don't even think it shows any of the dates that her clients go on. You just kind of hear about it later when she's following up with a lot of her clients and they tell her exactly how the dates went. Now, if you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but I really appreciate that the movie goes in that direction and raises an issue that's quite serious. But with that comes my probably only negative with the film, and it's not a huge issue, but I do feel like that when the movie changes in that serious direction, which I really like, and it's the part of the film that I really thought was the most interesting and had a very serious message that felt respectful and needed to be there. However, I feel like for that period when this kind of subplot happens, it kind of distracts the main plot a little bit, the love triangle situation between Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans. And for a good solid 20-25 minutes of the movie, it kind of neglects everything else for a little bit, which again, I'm not really mad at, but it just stops the plot from going on. And I wish they kind of chose to focus on that a little bit more than the love triangle stuff. But then it picks back up and it becomes a lot more interesting after that. I just think that there's a good block in the film that is completely focused on this subplot, which again, like I said, works, but kind of stops the plot from continuing for a long period of time. But other than that, I think this is 2025's best written film. I hope it gets some sort of nomination for screenplay in the Oscars, but we all know what the Oscars are like, so it might not. But honestly, I know that this movie kind of falls into the chick flick category, but as a man who went and saw this film, I really enjoyed it. I don't think that should be your excuse not to see the film. I honestly think for everyone this movie works. It's heartbreaking, it's heartwarming, very well written and very well directed. And Celine's song, I cannot wait to see what she does next. Anyway, I'm going to give Materialists a 4-star. I highly recommend seeing this film. It's a very, very good drama, romance, / comedy. It's got a little bit of a comedy aspect into it, which I really liked, and some of the dialogue is quite witty. But overall, I just had a very good time watching the movie, and I wouldn't miss out on it if you have some sort of intention of seeing it. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys next time.